Racist cop shatters a girl's arm, but the shocking truth of her identity leaves him trembling. Mia had always danced like the world was her stage. Underneath the sprawling oak tree in her small town, her body flowed effortlessly, spinning and leaping, lost in her dreams of glittering lights and applause. But that sunny afternoon turned dark. Officer Daniels came barreling down the street like a storm, his heavy boots thudding on the pavement. The air crackled with tension. People around Mia kneeled in fear, sensing trouble brewing. She felt a chill crawl up her spine as the sound of sirens echoed, puncturing the serenity she had known. "Mia, get away from there!" her mother yelled from distance, panic lacing her voice. But Mia was transfixed. She was drawn to the unfolding chaos, the whispers of hatred dancing in the air. The moment split like lightning. A scuffle erupted, loud voices filled with anger and fear. In an instant, Officer Daniels lunged, his eyes cold as ice. Time slowed as his hand gripped her wrist. She felt a rush of pain, louder than the sirens, sharper than the sky. And then, snap! The crack of her arm breaking was drowned out by the shot gasps around. She fell, tears streaming down her cheeks, her dreams crumbling into dust. The crowd surged forward, hearts beating in unison. Fear, rage, disbelief. Mia's eyes searched for help, for solace, but all she saw was Officer Daniels, his face pale, then confused as he finally realized what he'd done. Days passed in a blur. News spread like wildfire. The town was shaken. Protests erupted. Voices rallied for justice. Mia lay in her hospital bed, her arm encased in a cast, her spirit shattered like glass. In the quiet moments, when the pain subsided, she sought solace in her thoughts. But there was a fire igniting inside her. A pulse of determination. As she thumbed through her mother's old box of keepsakes, she found yellowed photographs and a dusty newspaper clipping. Her heart raced as she uncovered a name that sent shivers down her spine. Her grandmother! A celebrated civil rights leader who had vanished into history. Each line pulsed with power, revealing Mia's path was more than just her own. This legacy sparkled in front of her, igniting a passion she never knew resided within. Meanwhile, Officer Daniels grappled with a spiral of questions. His brother-in-arms, trying to rationalize what it meant to hold that power. Shattered glass mirrored the chaos in his soul. Could he really be a protector if he caused this harm? He felt the town turning against him, whispers of discontent rising like steam. The world outside bristled with energy, a community demanding answers. Mia, now filled with purpose, watched the protests from her window. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without any notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming up. And while you're here, hit that powerful like button. It helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, from which city are you watching? I love getting to know every incredible person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Mia watched the protests unfurl outside her hospital window. A swell of voices, rising and falling like waves. The urgency built inside her, tugging at her heart with each chant for justice. She imagined herself dancing alongside her peers, reclaiming her stage. But the moment held more weight now. Her injury wasn't just her own. It was part of some. It was Officer Daniels, his expression a mix of confusion and guilt. He stepped towards her, hands shaking, yet something flickered behind his eyes. Fear? Regret? Or was it something darker? Mia, he stammered, and the room silenced. Mia's heart raced. The crowd outside continued to rally, their voices echoing around her like a distant heartbeat. She felt trapped between two worlds, one pulling her towards justice, the other towards forgiveness. "I didn't mean to hurt you," he said, his voice cracking. "I was trying to control the situation." How can you control anything if you can't even control yourself? She shot back, pain lacing her words. Before he could respond, the emergency alarm blared, drowning their exchange in a sea of chaos. Nurses rushed past, urgency flooding the space. Mia looked up, panic washing over her. Then it happened. A loud crash came from the hallway, followed by shouts that sent adrenaline coursing through her. Officer Daniels turned sharply, pulling out his radio. But before he could speak, the door exploded open. A figure lunged into the room, gasping, eyes wild with fear and panic. Time nearly froze. It was her mother. "Mia, get down!" Her voice rang out, panic tightening the muscles in Mia's chest. But it wasn't just her mother. Behind her, police officers spilled into the space, weapons drawn. They were shouting, trying to secure the scene. Mia's breath caught. The world felt like a monster about to swallow her whole. "What's happening?" Mia gasped, feeling the tension in the air like static electricity. "Lockdown! Active shooter!" one of the officers yelled, darting toward the window. Everything changed in an instant. Officer Daniels turned white as a ghost. His power, his authority, it meant nothing now. They were all just people in a room, scared and unsure of what lay ahead. Mia's heart pounded, and sheer terror gripped every person present. That's when the shocking twist came crashing down. Her mother, standing unwaveringly, looked past Officer Daniels, and a shadow flickered in her gaze. A moment of recognition that chilled Mia to her core. You were supposed to be dead." Mia's mind raced, filled with confusion. "What? Who? What do you mean?" Her voice was barely a whisper through the tempest of emotions. Officer Daniels gaped, words stuck in his throat, the air electric with an unnameable tension. "Mia, please just trust me," her mother said, leaning in closer, urgency bleeding into her words. "I never wanted you to find out like this." Before she could process the implication, the sounds of chaos erupted from the wall, echoing through the sterile walls. The truth hung in the air like a bitter fog. Everything she thought she knew was unraveling, and Mia felt the ground drop beneath her. Her family's history, her identity, it all pivoted on a single moment, a single revelation. She turned to Officer Daniels, their eyes locking, questions hanging in the air like smoke. "Who are you really?" she whispered, heart racing with the weight of the world pressing down. Outside, the world roared, but in that moment, all that mattered was the silence of the room, trembling in anticipation of the truth yet to come. Mia's heart raced. the world around her quieting into focus as she stared at her mother, her mind spinning. You were supposed to be dead? The words hung in the air, thick as smoke. Confusion twisted like a knife in her gut. Officer Daniels stood frozen, his back straight like a stick, absorbing the shock. Her mother didn't look away, urgency sparking in her eyes. "This isn't the place," she whispered, glancing at the door. "Mia, there's so much you don't know." Panic surged as shouting echoed from the hallway. Her eyes darted between her mother and Officer Daniels, who still stood silent, face pale as a ghost. It was as if time paused, the screams outside a distant roar. "Get down!" another officer shouted, and everyone ducked instinctively. The room felt small, the walls closing in as chaos erupted outside. "Mia!" her mother pressed, kneeling beside her hospital bed. The tension crackled. "We need to talk. Now." Before Mia could process, a loud bang shook the walls, followed by the sound of glass shattering nearby. Sirens blared, drowning out her thoughts. The fear escalated, and Mia clenched her teeth, her broken arm pulsing with pain. "Mom, what's happening?" She needed answers, her voice a whisper stained with worry. "Years ago, there was a plan," her mother began, urgency in her tone. "They thought I was taken care of, said I'd never be found. The truth is, Mia..." A loud crash punctured their exchange as the door flung wide open. Another officer rushed in, shouting orders, bringing with him an air of authority that shifted everything. "Situation's escalating. We need to secure the area." He glanced at Officer Daniels, then back to Mia. "What's your status?" But Mia's focus was on her mother, who was trembling. "Mia, I swear." Then the twist hit hard. From the shadows of the hallway, a figure appeared. It was a woman, battered and bruised, eyes wide like a hunted animal. Her chest heaved as she stumbled into the room, clutching a bloodied letter in her hand. "Mia!" she cried, voice hoarse, cutting through the chaos. "I came to warn you! They're coming for you!" The room fell silent, the weight of her words heavy. Mia's breath caught. "Who?" The woman's gaze darted to Officer Daniels, recognition flickering there. "He's part of it. He doesn't know everything, but he's linked to your family." Shock rippled through Mia like a wave. She looked at Daniels, confusion swirling in her chest. Was he really part of this mess? "What do you mean?" Officer Daniels spoke, his voice shaky. "Mia, you are more than you think. You're a target because of your bloodline." "What? No!" Mia gasped, confusion throbbing like her injury. "What bloodline?" The woman stepped closer, eyes fierce, filled with raw emotion. "Your grandmother was fighting against something bigger than all of us. She uncovered secrets, powerful ones, secrets they'd killed to keep buried. In that moment, the outside world faded, leaving just the three of them in that hospital room, filled with tension. "Mia, listen," her mother urged, fear crackling in her voice. "It's not just the police, it's the system! Everyone you trust! You were born into this fight, and they won't stop until they silence you too." Mia felt the ground shift beneath her. Her identity, her strength, everything she thought she knew unraveling. "What are you saying? Why didn't you tell me before?" The woman fought to catch her breath, her voice trembling. "Because if you knew, you'd be in danger. But it's too late for that now. They're here." Just then, the lights flickered, plunging them into semi-darkness, a sign of the chaos outside. Mia's heart thundered in her chest. The weight of the truth hung heavy, threatening to crush her. "Mia!" Officer Daniels began, his voice breaking. But the fight was boiling. Urgency demanding a choice. They were all intertwined now, paths crossed under the shadow of secrets and a fight far greater than any of them had imagined. And in that moment, the real battle was just beginning. Mia's heart slumped with the weight of her mother's words, but the chaos around them remained unyielding. The tension thickened the air, each passing second heavy with uncertainty. Officer Daniels looked like a deer caught in headlights, his hands trembling. What was happening? Suddenly, the woman who had stumbled into their room took a step forward, urgency flooding her features. "They've been watching you, Mia! Your grandmother was onto something, and they won't let the truth come out." Every eye turned toward the window just as a deafening crash echoed through the hospital. Glass shattered, flying everywhere. The crowd outside surged like wild tides, screams punctuating the chaos. "Mia, get down!" her mother yelled, pulling her back. Then, in an unexpected twist, Officer Daniels' expression shifted. A flash of recognition crossed his face. "No," he muttered, stepping back, his mind racing. Before Mia could respond, the whole world tilted. The emergency lights flickered, bathing the room in a frantic strobe. The woman's bloodied letter fell from her grasp, gliding across the floor like a harbinger of doom. "What does that mean?" Mia shouted over the noise, her voice strained. "Mia, you don't understand," Officer Daniels stammered, his eyes darting towards the hallway. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't." The air crackled with confusion and fear. Then the shadows from the hallway morphed into figures, armed officers charging through the door, faces masked with authority. "Stand down!" "This is a containment breach!" Mia's breath hitched. She felt her mother's grip tighten as the room constricted with an unseen pressure. The officers swept through, and if it had been a scene from a movie, it would have felt surreal, almost scripted. But this was real. "Your grandmother was meant to be protected," the woman cried desperately. "Not put outside. We've had to keep her hidden." Suddenly, another loud crash resounded. The door swung wildly open, revealing a man with wild eyes. It was her mother's brother, her uncle, whose existence Mia had never known until now. "You have to go!" he shouted, voice edged with panic. "They found us!" The room erupted. Blood rushed in Mia's ears as she processed this new revelation. Her uncle? How was this possible? "I'm sorry," Officer Daniels whispered, his eyes wide with regret. "But you have to trust me. I'm not your enemy." "What did you do?" Mia felt a tear slip down her cheek. Everything seemed to spiral, as if the ground beneath her feet was no longer solid. "Mia, listen," her mother urged, looking between them. "The police, they're not just police. They're part of a larger scheme, one that wants to silence the truth." What truth? A million questions danced in Mia's mind. Just then, a deafening blast resounded as the security mainframe of the hospital exploded. Flames bursting like angry tongues, ripping apart the familiar space. Instinct kicked in. The room transformed into a desperate sprint for survival. Officers shouted, voices brimming with urgency amid the rising smoke. "Run!" her uncle yelled, his face a mask of determination. He grabbed Mia's hand. "We can't stay here." The three of them Mia, her mother, and her uncle were in full flight, the taste of ash sharp in the air. Officer Daniels lingered, torn, a silhouette against chaos. Mia, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. But it wasn't just him anymore. Shadows loomed, consequences wrapped around their chests like tight ropes. The world outside was shifting. Danger lurking around every corner, and the truth was more horrifying than Mia could have ever expected. The walls echoed with mounting fear, and as they fled down the corridor, the flickers of the lights dimmed. Every heart beat loud in the silence that followed. "Mia!" her mother shouted, shaking with raw urgency. "You're the key! Don't let them take you! We need to uncover the truth!" Mia felt the heat on her back, reality slipping away. "What truth?" But before her mother could respond, the hall swarmed with figures dressed in black, faces hidden. Too many. Panic surged again, leaving no time to think. And in that split second, everything shattered once more. Mia felt the heat on her back, the world tilting around her as she and her family fled down the corridor. "Mom, what are we running from?" Panic clawed at her throat, every beat of her heart echoing in her ears. But her mother's face was a portrait of fear, urgency shadowing every feature. "Just keep moving, Mia. We can't stop." They turned the corner, and that's when the chaos unfolded in front of them. The hallway, once sterile and white, now poured with shadowy figures. Officers crowded like angry bees, shouting orders and pointing weapons. Fear gripped Mia's stomach. Then a deafening bang! The explosion! It thundered through the building as if the world had fractured. The walls shook, sending dust and debris raining down, cutting into the air like shrapnel. "Over here!" her uncle shouted, dragging Mia toward a side exit. "We need to find a way out!" But as they moved, the unfamiliar woman who had come to warn them stumbled, falling to the ground. Mia felt every nerve ending scream in her chest. "No, we can't leave her!" "Mia, she can't come!" her mother shouted, tears glistening in her eyes. "We have to go now!" Mia hesitated. It felt like choosing between life and death, between family and a stranger. But before she could decide, the shadows closed in. Officer Daniels rushed toward them, his face pale, terror written across his features. "Get them out," he barked to the officers, urgency laced with authority. "Mia, trust me." His voice cut through the tumult, a desperate plea that sent chills down her spine. And then it happened. A figure burst into the room, a woman clad in tactical gear, her expression one of fierce determination. She held a device in her hand that pulsed with an eerie red light. "Everyone down!" she shouted, voice slicing through the chaos. The officers froze, confusion flashing across their faces. Mia realized she didn't know who to trust anymore. Suddenly, the device exploded with a blinding flash, engulfing the room in light. Mia shielded her eyes, and when she opened them, everything had changed. The room felt small and different, the air thick with electricity. The woman in tactical gear stood tall, and her face twisted into a sneer. "This ends now," she spat, pointing the device at Officer Daniels. "Mia, run!" he cried. But something in his voice sounded off, almost like he was pleading for her not to go. The sound of screams echoed through the chaos outside, but Mia stood frozen. "What do you mean?" she gasped, confusion clawing at her mind. The woman smirked. Ha 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 ha! And in that instant, she was the enemy. You don't know, do you? You are a part of this, Mia. You've always been. Heart racing, Mia felt her trust shatter like glass. What do you mean? What am I a part of? Your blood is the key, the woman exclaimed, her eyes glinting with malice. The legacy your grandmother fought for, it's more than just a secret, it's a weapon, and I'm here to claim it. Mia felt her breath hitch. A weapon? The weight of her family's legacy crushed her. All this time, she wasn't just a girl with broken dreams. She was part of something dangerous, something monumental. Mia, don't listen, her mother yelled, panic sweeping through her voice. You're not what she says. Stay with us. But now doubt bloomed like a dark flower in Mia's heart. Officer Daniels took a step forward, eyes wide, his hand trembling. Don't, she's lying. The chaos crashed back in. A surge of bodies, noise and confusion. Mia felt the world slipping. A single choice loomed ahead of her. Would she fight for the truth? For the family she thought she knew? Or would she follow a path shrouded in darkness? In that instant, the lights flickered again, the shadows deepening. As if in response to her uncertainty, the device in the woman's hand pulsed ominously, signaling a terrible truth still to come. And as the uncertainty clung to the air, Mia's heart raced. Her destiny twisted with every breath. Every moment stretched into eternity. The line between friend and foe blurred, and she realized for the first time she was at the center of an unimaginable storm. And there was no turning back. Mia's heart raced as the tension in the room thickened. The armed woman stood defiantly, eyes narrowed. Your grandmother's fight is your fight now, Mia. Just then the ground shook beneath their feet, like thunder rattling the walls. An alarm blared through the chaos, screaming, shouting, fear pulsing through everyone. Mia felt her world spin. Mom, what's happening? We need to, her mother started, but the words got lost in the mayhem, leaving Mia trembling. Officer Daniels, usually so steadfast, looked pale. This is bigger than any of us, he exclaimed, glancing desperately between Mia and her mother. Then something shifted. A shadow loomed behind the woman in tactical gear. Mia's breath caught as out of the darkness stepped a figure cloaked in black, a face obscured by a mask. An oppressive silence fell over the room. Mia, the figure rasped, voice familiar yet distorted. I've come for you. Confusion tore through her. Who are you? The figure lifted their hand, revealing a gleaming emblem, one that Mia recognized from her grandmother's old photos. Her eyes widened as the figure took a step closer. I am your legacy, they said, each word dripping with urgency. And you must understand the truth before it's too late. Mia, no! Her mother shouted, pushing her back, desperate but steady at the same time. But it was too late. The tactical woman swung around, fury etched across her features. You've been tracked, Mia. They know your heart beats like hers. You think you can escape your fate? The ground shook again, sending cracks racing through the walls. The noise outside, chaos, gunfire, and screams mixed into a cacophony that threatened to drown them. Uncertainty gnawed at Mia's core. She felt like she was balancing on a tightrope, the world falling away beneath her. "What do you want?" she dared to ask the figure. "What's going on?" The figure chuckled darkly, eyes glinting. "Your grandmother fought against an unseen enemy. They never let go of their prize. And guess what, Mia? You're the heir to that chaos." As the panic surged, the woman in tactical gear pulled out a small device, glowing ominously. "No, don't you dare!" Officer Daniel shouted, stepping forward to protect Mia. But it was too late. A blinding flash burst from the device, engulfing the room in light. Pain shot through Mia like a lightning bolt. She screamed, and then everything went dark. When Mia blinked awake, she was outside, the grass cold beneath her. Around her, thick fog rolled in, cloaking the world in white. What had happened? She tried to push herself up, but a piercing pain shot through her arm, sending her sprawling back down. "Mia!" A voice echoed through the mist. It was her mother. She turned, desperately searching for her. "Where are you?" "Mom!" she gasped, panic rising like bile. "I can't see you!" "Mia!" The voice was closer, but panic choked her thoughts. Shadows flickered about her, darker than the surrounding fog. She squinted, trying to find her mother, trying to escape what felt like a waking nightmare. Then she noticed them, the figures creeping out of the shadows, the same masked entity. "Mia, run!" A voice shouted, different from the others. But before she could process the order, another scream cut through the fog, and reality shattered. "She's here!" a voice cried, laced with disbelief. "Mia!" The mother's voice broke through, filled with agony now. "They're here for you, baby. You must listen." But just as Mia turned toward the direction of the voice, the masked figure stepped forward, revealing their face in a flash of lightning, their eyes widening in horror. "No, it can't be!" Everything froze. The air crackled with unspoken truths, connections made that sent chills spiraling down her spine. "Who are you?" Mia whispered. And in that single moment, the world shattered again. An unveiling so profound, it left no room for doubt. She was squeezed in the grip of destiny, and the truth hung thick in the air, pregnant with fear and possibilities. The past collided with the present as it dawned on Mia, and one heartbreaking question hung in the silence. Who was she, really? Mia's heart jumped like a rabbit caught in the open. The figure before her was a ghost from the past. But before she could catch her breath, everything exploded beneath her. "Why are you here?" she whispered, her voice barely cutting through the thick fog wrapping around them. The masked figure. "Mia!" her mother cried out from the shadows, her voice raw with panic. "Stay away from them! They twist the truth." But before any more words could escape, the ground rumbled once more. The air zapped with energy, crackling and pulsing. Then, silence! The world seemed to hold its breath. Mia felt her pulse race faster, a drumbeat of impending doom. And then it happened. A blinding flash cut through the fog, the image piercing her heart. In that moment, they didn't just appear. They erupted. Figures hidden in the mist flickered into view. Faces she recognized, and faces that made her stomach drop. Some were there for her grandmother. Some for her. All were threats. "Mia, we're coming!" her uncle shouted, bursting from the shadows. But chaos erupted in an instant. The tactical woman leveled her device, and with one push of a button, the world shattered again. The very ground beneath them split open in a shower of dust and debris. Time slowed. A loud boom echoed, and shockwaves rippled outward, knocking Mia off her feet. She fell hard, clawing at the ground, breath knocked out of her. Dust choked her throat, scattering the fleeting visions that raced in her mind. "Mia!" Her mother's voice cut through the haze, urgency and fear thick in her tone. "Get up! We have to move!" As Mia scrambled to her feet, the chaos unfolded like a bad dream. But then she froze. In the background, at the edge of her vision, a figure stood, tall, shrouded, and creeping closer. It had the same eyes, the same haunting familiarity. "Mia!" came a new voice, stronger, resonating like a bell ringing through storm clouds. It wasn't just any figure. It was her grandmother, but not the sweet old lady she had envisioned through faded photos. This was the woman of strength and power, the one who had fought fiercely, and she looked furious. "What?" Mia gasped, her heart pounding with an electrifying mix of fear and disbelief. Confusion lacing her voice. "You're supposed to be... How is this even possible?" "I cannot let them take you," her grandmother declared, her words slicing through the air. "You must understand the truth. They need you for their plan." The two worlds, the past and present, collided. Mia's heart raced, a tangled mess of emotions as shadows darted around her. "What plan?" she shouted back, desperation creeping in. "What do you mean?" But before the answer could come, everything convulsed again. A dark cloud loomed, and from the back, the woman's voice echoed like thunder. "Stop!" Suddenly, the ground quaked, the sharp tremors throwing everyone off balance. In that split second, the woman revealed her true allegiance with a chilling smile. "It's too late, Mia! You belong to us now." In a heartbeat, everything shifted, turning their fledgling understanding into a hostile battlefield. Mia's breath caught in her throat. "What do you want from me?" Fear flooded her veins, each heartbeat hammering the question into her chest. And then the shadows surrounded her. Figures emerging from the mist, all studying her with eyes that craved power. In the chaos, the kiss of betrayal sliced through the air. A horrific truth enveloped her. Mia realized it. She was not just a pawn. She was the crown jewel, the key to a legacy shrouded in danger. The realization hit with the force of 1,000 blazing stars. With that knowledge, Mia felt the edges of her young life unravel, revealing the sinister web that had shadowed her existence. And in that very moment of clarity, where everything was clear, yet impossibly tangled, a chilling question began to surface. Who could she truly trust? Mia's heart jumped like a rabbit caught in the open. The figure before her was a ghost from the past. But before she could catch her breath, everything exploded beneath her. Why are you here? She whispered, her voice barely cutting through the thick fog wrapping around them. The masked figure's eyes burned bright with unyielding. Your grandmother's legacy isn't just a story, Mia. It's alive, and so is the danger attached to it. A jolt of recognition tugged at Mia, sending shivers up her spine. Whispers of her family's past, once buried deep, surged forth and clawed at her memory like shadows eating sunlight. What danger? She pressed, unable to shake the fear that wrapped around her. Mia! Her mother cried from the shadows, her voice raw with panic. Stay away from them! They twist the truth! But before any more words could escape, the ground rumbled once more. The air zapped with energy, crackling. Mia felt her pulse race faster, a drumbeat of impending doom. And then it happened. A blinding flash cut through the fog, the image piercing her heart. In that moment, they didn't just appear, they erupted. Figures hidden in the mist flickered into view. Faces she recognized, and faces that made her stomach drop. Some were there for her grandmother, some for her. All were threats. Mia, we're coming! Her uncle shouted, bursting from the shadows. But chaos erupted in an instant. The tactical woman leveled her device, and with one push of a button, the world shattered again. The very ground beneath them split open in a shower of dust and debris. Time slowed. A loud boom echoed, and shockwaves rippled outward, knocking Mia off her feet. She fell hard, clawing at the ground, breath knocked out of her. Dust choked her throat, scattering the fleeting visions that raced in her mind. Mia! Her mother's voice cut through the haze, urgency and fear thick in her tone. Get up! We have to move! As Mia scrambled to her feet, the chaos unfolded like a bad dream. But then she froze. In the background, at the edge of her vision, a figure stood, tall, shrouded, and creeping closer. It had the same eyes, the same haunting familiarity. Mia! Came a new voice, stronger, resonating like a bell, ringing through storm clouds. It wasn't just any figure. It was her grandmother, but not the sweet old lady she had envisioned through faded photos. This was the woman of strength and power, the one who had fought fiercely, and she looked furious. What? Mia gasped, confusion lacing her voice. You're supposed to be... How is this even possible? I cannot let them take you, her grandmother declared, her words slicing through the air. You must understand the truth. They need you for their plan. The two worlds, the past and present, collided. Mia's heart raced, a tangled mess of emotions as shadows darted around her. What plan? She shouted back, desperation creeping in. What do you mean? But before the answer could come, everything convulsed again. A dark cloud loomed. And from the back, the woman's voice echoed like thunder. Stop! Suddenly, the ground quaked, the sharp tremors throwing everyone off balance. In that split second, the woman revealed her true allegiance with a chilling smile. It's too late, Mia. You belong to us now. And with those words, the very air shifted. An explosion of energy burst from the ground. A blinding light enveloped Mia, and when it faded, she found herself standing alone. The fog lifted, revealing a desolate landscape, a battlefield of memories and echoes. Mia's pulse raced. What just happened? She whispered, Confusion clouded her mind. She reached for the shadows, but nothing was there. Were they gone? Had she lost them? And then, amid the silent chaos, the truth struck like lightning. She wasn't in the same place. A fierce jolt coursed through her, wrapping around her heart. It felt colder, darker. She reached into herself, feeling the residual pain of her broken arm. But it was different now. Intensified, raw. The air thickened with foreboding. And then she heard it. A sob. Familiar, yet edged with anger. It drew her closer, past the remnants of her past, through tangled memories. She followed the sound until she found a figure hunched over a woman she barely recognized. It was her mother, tears streaming down her face. "Mia, I'm so sorry. I never meant for you to find out like this. It's all my fault." The confession hung in the air, heavy and agonizing. "What do you mean?" Mia breathed, confusion clawing at her throat. "What are you saying? It was never just about protecting you. I was part of it too." Her mother's face twisted in anguish, revealing a truth Mia had never expected to hear. She stepped back, disbelief crushing down around her. "What? You?" "Yes, I've been hiding the truth, keeping you in the dark. But you deserve to know the danger you face." Her mother's voice was ragged with pain. "There are things I can't explain." And just like that, everything she thought she knew faded away. The world twisted, and a churning question filled the space between them. Was her mother an enemy? "Mia!" a voice echoed from somewhere distant. It was gone again. The shadows, her grandmother, her uncle. This was too twisted, too distorted. With a heavy heart, she turned to run. But instead of fear, sparks of confusion and anger ignited. Who could she trust now? What was real? Her heartbeat roared, and just as she thought she could escape, a shadow loomed again, stretching her doubt even further. "Mia, you have to make a choice," the voice whispered, and she froze. What choice? And in that decisive moment, she understood one thing clearly. Nothing would ever be the same. Mia's heart jumped like a rabbit caught in the open. The figure before her was a ghost from the past. But before she could catch her breath, everything exploded beneath her. "Why are you here?" she whispered, her voice barely cutting through the thick fog wrapping around them. The masked figure's eyes burned bright with unyielding resolve. "Because I must protect you. Your grandmother's legacy isn't just a story, Mia. It's alive, and so is the danger attached to it." A jolt of recognition tugged at Mia, sending shivers up her spine. Whispers of her family's past, once buried deep, surged forth and clawed at her memory like shadows eating sunlight. "What danger?" she pressed, unable to shake the fear that wrapped around her. "Mia!" Her mother cried from the shadows, her voice raw with panic. "Stay away from them! They twist the truth!" But before any more words could escape, the ground rumbled once more. The air zapped with energy, crackling and pulsing. Then, silence. The world seemed to hold its breath. Mia felt her pulse race faster, a drumbeat of impending doom. And then it happened. A blinding flash cut through the fog, the image piercing her heart. In that moment, they didn't just appear. They erupted. Figures hidden in the mist flickered into view. faces she recognized, and faces that made her stomach drop. Some were there for her grandmother, some for her. All were threats. "Mia, we're coming!" her uncle shouted, bursting from the shadows. But chaos erupted in an instant. The tactical woman leveled her device, and with one push of a button, the world shattered again. The very ground beneath them split open in a shower of dust and debris. Time slowed. A loud boom echoed, and shockwaves rippled outward, knocking Mia off her feet. She fell hard, clawing at the ground, breath knocked out of her. Dust choked her throat, scattering the fleeting visions that raced in her mind. "Mia!" Her mother's voice cut through the haze, urgency and fear thick in her tone. "Get up! We have to move!" As Mia scrambled to her feet, the chaos unfolded like a bad dream. But then she froze. In the background, at the edge of her vision, a figure stood. Tall, shrouded, and creeping closer. It had the same eyes. The same haunting familiarity. "Mia!" came a new voice, stronger, resonating like a bell ringing through storm clouds. It wasn't just any figure. It was her grandmother, but not the sweet old lady she had envisioned through faded photos. This was the woman of strength and power, the one who had fought fiercely, and she looked furious. "What?" Mia gasped, confusion lacing her voice. "You're supposed to be... How is this even possible?" "I cannot let them take you," her grandmother declared, her words slicing through the air. "You must understand the truth. They need you for their plan. The two worlds, the past and present, collided." Mia's heart raced, a tangled mess of emotions, as shadows darted around her. "What plan?" she shouted back, desperation creeping in. "What do you mean?" But before the answer could come, everything convulsed again. A dark cloud loomed, and from the back, the woman's voice echoed like thunder. "Stop!" Suddenly, the ground quaked, the sharp tremors throwing everyone off balance. In that split second, the woman revealed her true allegiance with a chilling smile. "It's too late, Mia. You belong to us now." And with those words, the very air shifted. An explosion of energy burst from the ground. A blinding light enveloped Mia, and when it faded, she found herself standing alone. The fog lifted, revealing a desolate landscape, a battlefield of memories and echoes. Mia's pulse raced. "What just happened?" she whispered. Confusion clouded her mind. She reached for the shadows, but nothing was there. Were they gone? Had she lost them? And then, amid the silent chaos, a sob broke through. Familiar, yet edged with anger. It drew her closer, past the remnants of her past, through tangled memories. She followed the sound until she found a figure hunched over, a girl with soft features, eyes brimming with tears. Brianna? The name slipped out before she could stop it. Her childhood friend, the one who vanished without a trace, now sat awkwardly alone, face twisted in pain. "Mia!" she gasped, eyes wide. "I didn't think you'd find me here." "What are you talking about?" Panic seized Mia. "You disappeared. Everyone thought I had to hide." "It's not safe for me or for you." Brianna's voice trembled as she spoke, the shadows wrapping around her like a shroud. "They're everywhere. They're watching." "Mia, no!" a voice shouted behind her. her mother's voice more urgent than ever. "Don't trust her, she's—" But before she could finish, a deafening roar echoed in the air. The ground shook again, and a crack split the landscape, widening like a gaping mouth. A creature emerged, a swirling mass of shadows and fear, engulfing Brianna. "Help me!" she screamed, reaching out, fingers stretching toward Mia. But Mia couldn't move. "No!" she shouted, pulling against the weight of dread. The creature loomed closer, threatening to swallow them whole. In that moment, everything flicked. The air crackled with energy, and colours swirled into a chaotic storm. Brianna wasn't just a friend. She was part of the very chaos Mia sought to escape. "You think you can protect her?" Brianna's expression twisted into something dark, something unrecognizable. "You were chosen, Mia. The bloodline. It runs deeper than you know. I was your sacrifice." The world stopped. A lump formed in Mia's throat, the gravity of Brianna's words crashing down like a wave. "What?" she managed to breathe, grief clawing at her chest, droning out the chaos. The shadows shifted, the line between friend and foe blurring into an unimaginable horror. The truth spiraled in a reckless arc, shattering what Mia thought she knew about her life and her legacy. "Mia, run!" her mother shouted, but it was too late. The ground thinned beneath her, and with one swift movement, everything spiraled into darkness, leaving only the echo of a choice never made. Everything would change. Mia stumbled backward, her world spinning as the shadows deepened around her. The piercing cry from Brianna echoed in her mind, ghostly and present. "You have to choose!" But the choice felt too heavy, the stakes too steep. Suddenly, the fog began to dissolve, revealing her family standing off to the side. Her mother was trembling, desperation etched across her face. "Mia!" she yelled, voice cracking. "Focus on me. Don't listen to her." Moments stretched painfully long, each second feeling like an eternity. The creature lunged toward Brianna, shadows swirling. Mia felt a tightness in her chest, a knot of fear and courage battling within her. This was her moment to break the cycle. Stand up for the legacy that had been handed down to her, both the light and the dark. "No!" she shouted, standing firm, strength bubbling to the surface. "I won't let you manipulate me anymore." The shadows halted, surprised by her defiance. "I choose my own path." The very air shimmered around her, a spark igniting. Mia drew in a breath and steadied herself. "You can't take me." "Not anymore. I won't repeat the mistakes of the past." She lifted her chin, eyes locking onto those shadowy figures. The world around her pulsed with a new energy, fighting against the darkness that threatened to swallow them whole. Brianna seemed to flinch, emotion flashing across her face. "Mia, don't! They'll use you!" But Mia's gaze softened. She reached out, catching Brianna's frightened eyes with her own. "I see you," she whispered, and with those simple words, the connection grew brighter between them. "You're not just a pawn in their game." Mia felt warmth suffuse her being. She turned back to her family, joined by her mother's unwavering gaze. "We fight together," she exclaimed, heart pounding. Suddenly the ground trembled again. But this time the shadows began to pull away, as if frightened by the light that Mia and her family had ignited. The energy radiated out, building momentum, pushing the darkness back. The tactical woman's face twisted in anger. "You can't stop this!" she spat, only to falter as her own power waned with the brightening light. "Yes, we can," Mia declared, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "We are the light. The legacy is ours to redefine." As the shadows recoiled, they began to shimmer and break apart, fracturing into nothingness. Brianna's figure flickered in and out, caught in the struggle. "You have to keep going, Mia," she cried, voice filled with urgency now. "The truth is out there. Don't stop." With one final desperate scream, the shadows exploded like fireworks, vanishing into the night. Mia gasped as the light swallowed her whole. Then, quiet. The dust settled, and she found herself in a place that felt familiar. A field where they used to play, laughter weaving around her like music. "Mia!" Her mother rushed to her side, relief flooding her features. "You did it! You stood up!" But as they embraced, there was a hollowness in Mia's heart. "What about Brianna?" Her voice was barely a whisper, laced with sorrow. "We'll find her," her mother promised. "We need to keep searching. The truth is out there, and so is she." Resolute determination sparked in Mia's chest. They had a new mission now, finding those lost to the shadows. With her family beside her, she felt more powerful than ever. The legacy would not be a weapon, it would be a shield. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the field, a chill ran through the air. One question lingered in her mind. What other secrets lay buried? And with that thought, they set forth on their journey, hands clasped tightly together, hearts resolute. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. And don't